Smart 24, driving business.
Very warm welcome to the show. Thank you so much for watching Smart 24 TV, and we do drive your business. My name is Anthony, and I'm here to update you on what's happening in the financial markets world, of course, across the globe, but in particular in the region and as well as local financial markets here in Uganda. My name is Anthony Sebale. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Anthony Sebale, and as well Smart 24 TV at Smart 24 TV, and you can also watch us live on YouTube at Smart 24 TV Live. That is our YouTube channel. Those of you watching us live on DST TV Channel 372 and Channel 394 on GoTV as well are doing a wonderful job. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, the show is proudly brought to you by Altex. If you haven't checked out Altex, you better do before it's too late. Altex East Africa is an East African stock exchange, a private stock exchange licensed by the Capital Markets Authority of Uganda. Now, with Altex, you can buy treasury bonds, which are some of the most interesting financial market segments here in the East African market. Of course, given the current financial or economic situation we are going through, you can be able to buy the best bonds with the best interest rates across East Africa. Now, you can simply do that using your phone, and that's what they're bringing on board with their Zabu initiative, where they're partnered with MTN and Airtel and helping you now to access those markets by simply dialing *292#. When you do that, you will be able to select the options either to learn more about the products. You can choose the option to buy, the option to sell, depending on what you want as an individual. And this is going to be on all the maturity periods you can think of in the treasury bond market, the 4-year bonds, the 7-year bonds. We do have the 10-year bonds in there. We do have the 20-year bonds, the 30-year bonds in Kenya, and so many others. You can find these particularly on your smartphone right now or on your small cartouche phone where you don't even need access to the internet. All you need is some money on your mobile money wallet, and you can transfer that money now seamlessly onto the Altex Africa Stock Exchange. Now, of course, they do have a limited time of opening and closing, starting at exactly 15 minutes past 8 a.m. and closing at 15 minutes past 3 p.m. East African Standard Time. At Altex, we say, do something new. Now, let's get to look at, of course, the current market trends. Remember, this show is all about saving and investment. If you're out there and you have $1 million on your account and you're not going to need that money for the next 1 year, then this is the show for you. How are you going to put that money to use and make a profit out of it without getting directly involved in the risky day-to-day business of the country? Of course, the economy is down, the currencies are down, the stock markets are also trying to struggle, but all these are opportunities. You just have to wear the shades of opportunity and spot those opportunities for you. And we're just here to just give you a little bit of that. Now, we are going to start off, of course, with the Bank of Uganda updates, getting to look at our current interest rates on the treasury bonds and the treasury bills here. But as well getting to look at the opening and closing of the US dollar and the Uganda currency performances. Excuse me. Yesterday at 3,651.33 at the buying price. They were selling at exactly 3,661.83 by the close of yesterday. And when you look at the Tanzanian shillings, at exactly the buying price is 1.55 Ugandan shillings and being sold at 1.57 Ugandan shillings. The Kenyan shilling is at 29.55 Ugandan shillings at the buying price and selling at exactly 29.63 Ugandan shillings. Getting to look at the treasury bonds and the treasury bills. The 91-day treasury bill as of 30th November was at 11.3% interest rate, and the 7th of December found it at 11.46, a little bit higher there for the month of December. So you can check on the Bank of Uganda. Or rather 3 months, rather 6 months, it's at currently of about was 13, a little bit, but that's of course what's happening currently at the Bank of Uganda. We do have as well the treasury bond of 365 days, and let's get to see and have a look at some of the interest rates here on the 365-day treasury bond, treasury bill rather. Now, the 364-day currently is at 14.5% from 15.3% back in November the 30th. Now, currently, December, we're speaking about 14.5% on that particular 364 treasury bill. Remember, for the treasury bills, you get this interest at the end of the maturity period. So if it's 1 year, you have to wait for that 1 year, and at the end you get your initial deposit together with your interest. And then for the treasury bonds, which are longer term, you have the annualized interest, and this annualized interest or the annualized yield, you have to wait for 6 months. Every after 6 months, you get half of that. So that's how different it really works out there. The 2-year treasury bond currently on the primary market was at 16.75% back on the 30th of November. By 7th of December, it remained at still 16.75%. Whereas on the secondary market, it was at 16.14% in 30th of November and moved to 15.50 on the 7th of December. The 5-year treasury bond, 16.25%, generally to 16.25% as well in the month of December, and that is on the primary market. But on the secondary market, it was a little bit higher at 17 cents. That is for the 5-year treasury bond. When you look at the 10-year treasury bond, the primary market was around 17.5%, and the secondary market at 16.79%. When you look at the 15-year treasury bond, the annualized yield was at 17.99%, and that is on the primary market. On the secondary market at 17.8%. There's still the 20-year treasury bond, which is the biggest, the largest maturity period we have. Currently stands at 17.0% on the primary market. On the secondary at 17.96%. That's data courtesy of Bank of Uganda. You can participate in this treasury bond market simply through various ways. We do have fund managers who can help you access the treasury bond market. Fund managers like Sanlam, Britam Asset Managers. We do have Zeno, as well as when you look at maybe UAP or Mutual. All these can also get you to the treasury bond market. But for those of you with bank accounts in the primary dealers accounts, for example, we do have primary dealers like UBA, Standard Chartered, Centenary Bank, Stanbic Bank, and the like. So for those of you with those accounts, you can as well get to access the bond market through those primary dealers. They do especially help when it comes to primary markets, and as well as the secondary market. So you can also get some of those and access some of these treasury bonds. Treasury bonds, for starters, are transferable debts. We are talking about debts that can be transferred from one person to another, but these debts are to financial institutions, or we're talking about, for example, the Bank of Uganda. And so you're seeing that the government of Uganda is issuing these notes through the Bank of Uganda, so they can be able to collect as much money as possible and get to finance the different government projects, but as well get to return this money with an interest. So definitely you should be checking out some of those opportunities there. Away from that, let's get to look at the stock market and have a look at what took place on the second day of trading yesterday. And of course, as we gear towards the Christmas day, definitely there is a lot going on in the markets. But it seems like there's no excitement really, generally speaking, on the market that we would expect usually around this time. Around this time, we would have initial public offers, would be expecting some, some financial results to be released and a little bit improved activity, but we have not yet seen that. And this is, of course, evident according to data that we are currently seeing, especially this new week. Across Africa, Ghana Stock Exchange registered a loss of 4.9 points on their all-share index, which is called the Ghana Stock Exchange Consumer Index. And when you look at that, that was a 0.2% drop there in the value of the stocks. Here in Ghana, Johannesburg lost over 325.94 points, representing about 0.44% loss on their all-share index, the tracker of the tracker of the performance of all the listed stocks on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. When you look at Nairobi Securities Exchange, at 0.28 points decrease, lost about 0.22% of their price there on the stock exchange, and that shows you what they had for you. And on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we are seeing a drop of 0.28 points, which was about 0.22%. That was put off there for the second day of trading. Now, when you look at Nigeria, Nigeria had a slightly better day with a 1.22 points increase in their all-share index, and really nothing much really happened as well. But let's get to look at the Uganda Stock Exchange and see what really took place on the Uganda Stock Exchange here at the second day of trading. Now, as we all know, we do have 18 companies on the exchange that are currently listed on our main bourse. However, amongst these, we had just 3 people participating in these trading. That's 3 companies that were registered for the day's trading on Tuesday. And these included Wumeme, Stanbic Bank, and MTN Uganda. Unfortunately, the day ended with no single gainer. All of them lost, and the biggest loser of them was Stanbic Bank Uganda in terms of percentages there on the exchange. Stanbic Bank Uganda lost 8.7% of their trading price, and with this depreciation in price, they closed at 21.0 Ugandan shillings, up from 23 Ugandan shillings. Of course, there was a little bit of hope there that Stanbic probably would return to 26 shillings maybe by the end of this year, but seems that hope is getting dimmer and dimmer as we come closer and closer to the end of the year, as the company lost 2 shillings the second day of trading, closing at 21 shillings there on the stock exchange. Stanbic Bank Uganda wasn't alone. We had 6 other losers on the exchange, and these included Centum Investments losing 3.06%, closing at 238.71 Ugandan shillings. We did have Nation Media Group at 2.98%, depreciation closing at exactly 461.68 Ugandan shillings. And when you look at Jubilee Holdings Limited, lost 0.29% of their trading price and closed at 5,930.58 Ugandan shillings per share. East African Breweries Limited as well lost 0.17%, down to 4,928.54 Ugandan shillings, and as well Equity Bank Limited at 0.17%, down to 1,350.9. Amongst all these, only Stanbic is domestically listed, which unfortunately negatively impacted the local company index. Definitely, it did have an impact on this index, which tracks the aggregate performance of all the domestically listed stocks, the Uganda Securities Exchange. Currently, the local company index is at a 1.42% decline, representing about 270.49 points currently on the exchange there. And when we look at the last 1 week, we've lost 0.73% of the local company index, and a 4-week gain of 0.44% is still being appreciated, at least on this particular local company index. The benchmark index, that is the USE All Share Index, has still suffered a huge loss due to the 7 losers on the market. Remember, this is a market capitalization weighted index, so definitely whatever happens to the prices does affect this index, and it dropped over 4.37 points, declining by about 0.36% of that trading for the day on Tuesday, and this closed at exactly 1,198.32 points. Now, currently, we are looking at a 1-week loss of 0.48% and a 4-week loss of 2.27% of that price, and an overall year-to-date loss of 15.65% there. And that's it from the Uganda Securities Exchange. But before we wind up the business here at the Uganda Securities Exchange, let's get to look at Stanbic Bank Uganda here, who was the biggest loser for the day, and however still the top most mover on the market. Now, Stanbic Bank Uganda currently still has the fifth most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange, currently representing about 1.07 trillion of the 21 trillion Ugandan shillings of the market capitalization there on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And when you look at their current representation of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange, they represent just about 5.17% of the entire market capitalization, or the entire equities market on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And Stanbic Bank Uganda, with this, currently represents about 21.0 Ugandan shillings per share on the Uganda Stock Exchange, and this was after a loss of 2 shillings of their trading price, and that was last night, ending with a total of just 21 shillings. However, the company has suffered a year-to-date loss, which is quite big, and looking at their year-to-date, they have dropped over 19.2%, which is the 10th, of course, ranking on the year-to-date performance according to the Uganda Securities Exchange data. Yesterday's trade, they had about 170,000 shares, and this ended with a turnover of about 3.57 million Ugandan shillings that was traded on Uganda Securities Exchange there. 51.2 billion shares are the shares outstanding currently, and about 1.07 trillion. That is their market capitalization. The company does have a good dividend policy on the Uganda Stock Exchange, and this year they did issue about 100 billion. That is worth of shares, 50 billion for 2020, 50 billion for 2020. And after, of course, the Bank of Uganda put a hold on all the banks and refused them to actually issue dividends. Years 2020. That's it from the Uganda Stock Exchange. You can follow through the other days trade or the day's trading, as of course we proceed the third day trading at www.use.org. And this, of course, will give you the market snapshot, but also they will give you a chance to be able to buy or sell shares. You can be able to buy or sell shares by doing a very simple thing. Open yourself an SCD account. When you do this, you will be able to access the markets. But remember, you have to deal with a licensed stockbroker first and foremost before going on to trade on the stock exchange. This is Financial Markets. We are brought, of course, we are proudly sponsored by the Altex East Africa. That is a private stock exchange giving you access to treasury bonds across Africa. And so you can be able to get to buy yourself some bonds as well on there. We're going to take a very quick commercial break. And when we do return, we get to wind up this show with the different other market analysis from other markets across Africa, as well news coming in from the different financial market segments. Stay with us. I am Anthony Sebale, and we drive your business.
Smart 24, driving business.